Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to be providing you an overview of PowerView. PowerView is one of the components of Microsoft's Power BI suite of tools, and it is basically the tool that is used for performing data visualizations. So it allows you to create interactive dashboards and reports, and it is baked into Excel itself, or at least that's one of the ways of accessing PowerView, which basically brings it a lot closer and makes it a lot more accessible to end users, bringing the goal of self-service BI more to a reality. I wrote a SQL Server Central article on getting started with PowerView, and this video is meant to be sort of a companion video for those of you who would rather see a demo and are more visual rather than read the article and follow along. So let's get started. What we're going to do is, in this case, I'm going to use the Contoso Retail database. As you can see over here, it is a sample database provided by Microsoft. I've written a simple query, as you can see here, joining the fact sales table with a few dimensions, and I'm putting in some filtering criteria, as you can see, just to limit the number of rows. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this data. We're just going to simply paste this data into Excel and use this data as a data source. The reason why I wanted to demonstrate it with this example is because I want to show that in order to use PowerView, you really don't need anything but Excel. So this is a great use case for someone who does not even have SQL Server, let's say a restaurant owner or a jewelry store owner that does not use a database and simply has data stored in Excel itself. So let's take that. Let's take the data that we just executed in SQL Server and let's paste it into Excel, and then we'll get started using PowerView. And I'm not sure why this is taking so long at the moment, but whilst this is pulling up, the important thing to remember is that PowerView is not restricted to simply creating reports and dashboards from Excel data. It can actually use data from any data source, SQL Server, analysis services, even text files for that matter. So, any database source, as long as you can create a data connection to it, ODBC or anything else, you can actually use PowerView to pull data from that data source and to create quick reports and charts off of it. Okay, so in order to use PowerView, you are going to need Excel 2013. In fact, PowerView is baked into Excel 2013 itself. And let's go ahead and paste the data that we copied. I think I did something in the middle. So let me copy that piece again over here. Simply copying the data. We're going to come here and paste that. So Excel has this data. So in Excel 2013, PowerView is actually baked in. And the way to access it is by simply going to the Insert tab and by clicking Insert PowerView. Okay. So when you do that, as you can see over here, it's opening up a new PowerView sheet. You'll see that show up at the bottom over here, and then it will give you access to all these data elements, all these columns of data that we have just pasted. Okay, so looks like it's getting initialized, and there you go. By default, it's putting in a few of these fields. We're just going to go ahead and delete those. To start with a blank sheet. If you click on that icon, click on that expand button there, you can see that you have basically, like I said, all the columns that are available. So in order to get started, it's really simple. What you need to do is simply, click on one of the data fields that you want to see. As you can see over here, PowerView has automatically detected that these are numeric fields, and it has summarized them automatically. So just by clicking this, you start to create your report. So right now, what we are seeing is the total sales amount. Okay, And this may or may not be that helpful. What you can start to do is you can start to filter this and slice and dice this data. So in this case, let's click on color name, and uh, you'll see it put color name over here. In this case, I don't want to see it in this format. I would like a tile. So what you do is you just drag color name into tile, and it creates tiles for those. Now you can easily expand this window over here, and now you have basically these tiles for colors. And as you click the different colors, the amount keeps changing. Now, let's make this a little bit more interesting. Let's add a brand name in here, and let's go ahead and uh, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to delete that. So one important thing to remember is that if you want to add to a given data visualization, you need to first click that. So once I click it, and then if I add brand name to it, it's not going to create a new visualization, a new graph. Now, once I did this, what I can do is I can say I want this to be a stacked column chart, and then the visualization for that changes into a column chart. Okay, so here you go. You can click on the different colors, and you can see which brand names, for example, are and what their sales amount is by brand name and by color. Now, the other thing that since I chose a stacked column chart, I can actually make it a little bit more interesting by putting in another field there. And in this case, I'm going to put in addition to sales amount, I want to look also at the total cost. So now there you go. This is a lot more interesting, and I can actually see for a given color what is my distribution of sales versus my distribution of cost. So really quick, you're able to create this kind of visualization. You can give it you can give it a title. And there you have it. Okay. What you can do is you can keep enhancing. This particular dashboard. So in this case, I'm going to basically try and reduce the real estate that this one takes, so I can fit in another visualization on this, and I am going to now try to see if I can create another visualization. So in order to do that, it's important to click outside outside this window, just like I did right here, okay, and then start your new visualization. So now I'm going to do sales amount, and I am going to choose a bar chart in this case, okay, and I want to look at this by let's use product category name for this, okay. So there you go. You've got that, and now you can see the different product categories and the sales for those. And whilst we are at it, let's click outside, and let's also get a timeline, a trend, a timeline that shows us how the sales weighed over time. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and use calendar quarter. Now, in this case, you will notice that Power View has actually summarized these fields, and that's actually not correct, because calendar quarter is not a data field that we want to summarize by. But in the absence of a data modeling tool like Power Pivot, Power View doesn't know any better. So in this case, we'll just click on calendar quarter, and we can simply go here and tell it, I do not want you to summarize this field. And it's as simple as that. What we can do is we are going to use a line chart over here for this visualization. So I make sure I select this component here, and then click on line chart. Okay, and now I can expand that so it looks neat and clean, and there I have it. Now, one thing to remember here is that this chart is entirely interactive, and let me show you what I mean by that. So if you want to only analyze your home appliances, what you could easily do is simply click on that, and you will see everything else change. So as you notice, your graph over here changed, these options over here changed. As you see, these became grayed out, so it kind of tells you that there are no home sales for Contoso or the phone company, and only you're selling home appliances in the Fabricam brand. Okay, if you want to undo that, you simply click that again and you're back again. If you want to analyze, let's say, the phone company's brand, you can click on that and you'll see these change as well. So now you can tell, oh yeah, it looks like it's a little hard to tell this, but it looks like you only have cell phones under the phone company, and then this chart over here, this line chart also kind of changed. Okay, so totally interactive, allows you to do the visualization. Another key thing here that you can do is you can do filters. So let's do this. In this case, let's try to use this filter area right here, and we'll try to filter things by store type. Okay, so in order to filter by, you simply drag store type, and you have all your options here. And now once again, when you choose your one particular store type, all of these change like you saw. Okay, so you unselect it, it's selecting everything else. You select reseller, all the graphs and bars change. So you can use multiple filters if you need to. Let's choose calendar year as well. Drag and drop that one, and it shows you a different type of visualization, as you see, depending on the data elements in it. So there you go. You can choose that, and you can filter by calendar year too. Okay, so one of the most cool, the last thing that I want to show you is one of the most cool visualizations that is the most talked about for Power BI, and that is the scatter plot, which gives you the play axis. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is we're going to create a new sheet and click Insert Power BI. Okay. Once again, we get all our fields over here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click sales amount, and I'm going to choose a scatter plot. Okay. Now, when you choose scatter plot right here, I'm going to expand this. Okay. What happens is it gives you all these different options over here, as you can see. So you have the ability to tile, you have the X, Y axis, you've got the size, you've got details, you've got color, and if you scroll down, you'll see the play axis as well. Okay, so in this case, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose, I want to look at things by unit price, and I want unit price to be in my X-axis. So I'm simply going to drag that. Oh, I already have sales amount in my X-axis. I actually want sales amount to be in my Y-axis. So I'll simply drag that there. I'll drag unit price to my X-axis. But in this case, I don't want to look at total unit price. I actually want to look at average unit price. So I'll click average unit price right there. For my size, I want total cost to be the size. So I know the bigger the bubble, okay, the higher the cost. Okay, we'll do that, and then we're going to look at things by store type. Okay, so I'll drag that there. For color, I want to use brand name. So different brands are going to have a different color. So again, it's very visual, and you can see that. Okay. Okay. It looks like we've got lots of brands, and it may get a little hard to see. So I'm also going to drag brand name into the filter, and I'm only going to choose a couple of brands. So let's say Contoso and Fabricam. Okay, got that. And finally, I am going to choose my play axis. So in this case, again, I want to look at things by quarter. So I'm going to put the play axis right there. And as soon as I do that, you see over here, you've got a play button. And that's all you got to do, and you're pretty much ready to see this cool animation. So let me go ahead and click the play axis. And as you can see over here, the animation basically shows you, how your sales changed over time. Okay. Now you may think it went too fast, but if you click on play again, you can actually pause it at any point you want. So now in this case, I paused it at 2008 quarter one. And in fact, I could actually drag this manually, and you can see at whatever pace I want. Okay, so you have complete control over how this animation works. In fact, if you click on one of the bubbles, you can actually see the path that bubble traversed, to see the trend, if there was any. So that's the scatter plot, and hopefully this video has given you an idea of how to get started with Power View. I hope that you're going to try Power View. It's a really cool tool, very accessible, very easy. You don't need SharePoint. You don't even need SQL Server, in fact, or any fancy tools. You can get started with it simply if you have Excel 2013 and some data to play with. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and go try out PowerPoint now.